Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
This has been quite a show this morning. We've had such interesting subjects. And, of course, one of my most favorite subjects, and I talk about Joe Karp and the whole field of elder law a lot of times, because in today's world, lawsuits and what happens to people who they don't do the right thing to begin with when they go to an elder law attorney. Hopefully they are going to an elder law attorney. But the financial ramifications of nursing home admission is more than anyone could have imagined. Thank you, Joe, for writing that kind of an article.
You're welcome, and good morning.
Good morning.
I was listening to the musical introduction. I've been hearing that musical introduction for 22 years.
That's right.
And it still brings an upbeat smile to my face.
That's great. Mine also. Thank you. Okay, so what happens when someone wants to go to a nursing home? It's not so simple in many ways, is it?
Well, there's a number of things, and we'll start with the premise. Quite frequently, no one wants to go to a nursing home. And it's when they have to go in. And there are two ways that people go in, first of all. The first description I use is on a gurney. They've been in the hospital and they're going into rehab, into a facility. And then the rehab facility also is a nursing home, and the person has to stay beyond their getting care for the disorder that they have, and they are receiving custodial care because they need help. The other way, of course, is when people are coming in the front door because they can no longer be cared for properly at home. So there's a couple of things that happened. The thing that my article in Boomer Times discusses this month is somebody's got to sign that person in, or that's what you're told. So who should sign that person in? Well, the first person is always get that person to sign themselves in. But that's not always viable at all. So they will turn to the loved one who is bringing them in. Sometimes it's a spouse, sometimes it's a child. And I'm going to sort of I'll go backwards in a minute. And then the nursing home, of course, with the rehab facility, says, can you sign your loved one in? And you don't think you have a choice. That's number one. It's as if they've already got the body, by the way. When they're saying sign this person in, 98% of the time, except for the ones who are coming in on a gurney, they got them already. The ones who are not going on a gurney, the smaller percentage that are walking in the front door, and that usually has to do more with dementia-related patients or Alzheimer's-related patients. So who should sign them in? Well, normally you would think, well, I'd sign my husband or wife in. But I'd urge you not to. The person who should sign that person is the person who has the durable power of attorney to act upon behalf of the patient. Now, that's usually the wife or the husband when it's a married couple. But then the question is, how do you sign it in? Most of these places have things that say responsible party to sign. It says, who's signing the person in? And they say, patient or responsible party. And you say, well, does that mean I'm responsible for the bill? And 98% of the time, you'll get the answer, no. You're just responsible for signing him in. There have been numbers of cases all over the country where when the bill wasn't paid, the responsible party was sued. They said, I was told I just was responsible for signing him in and not guaranteeing the bill by the staff person. And even when it is an uncontroverted fact, where there's not an argument over that, it has been held, you're still responsible for the bill. So how do you sign that person in? Easy. Let's say you're Mary Doe and your husband is John Doe, and he goes in and they ask you to sign. You sign John Doe by Mary Doe, his power of attorney. And when it says if there's anything that says guarantor, don't sign that at all. And don't sign Mary Doe, period. If they say if there's not enough room and you end up signing Mary Doe, power of attorney, that's better than Mary Doe, but you're much better off signing John Doe by Mary Doe, power of attorney. And that allows you, and if you're the health surrogate but not the power of attorney, then you write Mary Doe by John Doe by Mary Doe, health surrogate. If you happen to be the person who can make medical decisions, but you're not in charge of the money. But never, ever agree by signing your name. And they can lie to you. They can lie to you. And I don't mean this negatively, but a police officer can say to two accused people, two cops can be in separate rooms and saying, your accomplice has just admitted everything, and he's going to testify against you and get the good deal if you don't tell us what happened. And they can be totally lying, and the Supreme Court and all the courts have said that lie is totally permissible. So merely because they lie in these cases or are mistaken, you still can be on the hook. And as everybody listening should know, semi-private rooms in Palm Beach County in a nursing home are running in excess of $300 a day, and that does not cover meds, diapers. It just covers the room on a private pay. So be very careful what you're signing for.
So, Joe, have you ever had to defend anybody on a case like this?
I have had to get into writing contests and get the place to change their position, but I don't do the litigation anymore. I haven't litigated in over 25 years, but the answer is, even if you win, do you know what, if you're the Mary Doe who wrote Mary Doe, even if you win, do you know what your legal fees will be? Do you know what your stress level will be with that hanging over you and you're getting a monthly bill from the lawyer who's doing battle for you? It's a no-brainer. You don't do it.
I just heard this on, I just heard this on someone that, pardon the expression, Trump was threatening is going to have his lawyers on this person who was writing about them. So that it was a big enough bill in his mind that he decided not to do it.
Absolutely. So the fears, and when you start to get where the bill is big for you, but modest in the big picture, because you go to the lawyer. In fact, I had a client whose daughter fought with her co-op board in Manhattan over a $1,200 fee, and she ended up with $800,000 in legal fees.
Oh my gosh!
Okay, so sometimes you get yourself mired the hell in before you know it, and remember they may be entitled to legal fees if they prevail. So the word to the wise is sign Mary Doe, power of attorney, after you've written John Doe's name, safest way. And there are other admissions that people will think about, and then I'll talk about if there is no power of attorney. The other thing is people always assume that when their husband's been in the hospital and they're discharging them, everybody says, oh, well, he's been in for a couple of days, therefore Medicare will pick up the tab. Okay, right? They'll pick up the initial tab, so you can certainly sign him in when he's discharged for rehab. Well, Medicare doesn't pick up the tab unless the person was in the rehab, unless the person has been in the hospital and admitted, not just observation. So you have to make sure, were they in for observation? Are they an observation patient, or are they an enrolled patient in the door? And merely because they're in a private room and have been there for 2 or 3 days doesn't mean that the doctor said they're in for observation. Because that happens, and it used to happen far more frequently until they came up with this ruling. Mom or dad is very weak, seems disoriented, but they're not being admitted for any diagnostic reason, no treatment, if you will. They're going in for a diagnosis. And the diagnosis, the way they're going to figure it out, is observation. So don't rely upon the fact that they're in for Medicare, that you shouldn't still be signing the same way. And what if somebody didn't do the power of attorney? Refused to sign. They've got the patient. They're not going to throw him out. They believe the people are collectible. They will take the person if they've got the person safe. I have no authority to sign. And they'll say, but you're his wife. You can use a little humor if you can pull it together. Say, for 57 years we've been married and I haven't been in charge of him. I'm still not in charge of him. I can't
That's
sign.
great. That's good humor. I love that.
Say, he has never given me power of attorney or anybody power of attorney. I don't have it. So it's a very critical thing. Refuse to sign unless you're prepared to pay the piper yourself. And that's a critical thing for people to know. Now you're starting to see why powers of attorney are so important. I had a lady in with her significant other the other day. He came in first. They've been together. In fact, he called himself a spousal substitute. He said, I'm beyond significant other. I am now officially a spousal substitute. They've been together 27 years.
Oh,
the guy has always wanted, and they made the decision years and years and years and years ago that they were never going to get married. And this guy has kept all of his assets separate, all of his other stuff separate. He was recently hospitalized and came out. She's not interested in getting any of his money. He knows that. And she said he really needs some legal documents. She found this on the Internet. They came to the office. I said, I have to meet with him alone. I can't have you in the room. I need to go over everything with him. And she understood. She said, he just needs some legal documents. I get in and I talk to him. He doesn't have a thing. Not a power of attorney, not a will, nothing.
Oh, my.
Not a health care surrogate. And I explained the ramifications to him. And he is the ultimate procrastinator who never wants to go to his pocket for anything that is not a necessity. And he didn't perceive any of that stuff as a necessity because necessities are only things you need when it happens, right? He buys the hurricane insurance when the hurricane is 2 blocks away.
Right.
He just doesn't get it. So I said, fine, and this is what it would cost, but if you don't want to find, can I bring in your friend now and tell her what transpired in this meeting and give her some advice if you get sick or go into the hospital or if you need any help? She said, absolutely. Bring her in. And I explained what's going to happen if he goes into the hospital. I said, do not sign him in. Do not sign him in. She said, suppose they say, if you don't, we're not taking him. And the same thing with the nursing home for rehab, etc. I said, well, are you prepared to be legally responsible for all of his bills? And you got to understand is when my mother went into the hospital at one point, in 1984, she had a massive stroke, spent 180 days in the hospital, and then spent 4 months in rehab, and then needed 24-hour care for the rest of her life. I didn't sign her in. when they asked me to sign her in, well, we were going into the admissions room because it happened during surgery when we went to be admitted. They said, will you sign for her? I said, of course not. I wasn't that smart. It just intuitively went against my brain. And I said, she can sign for herself. Her hospital bills were uncovered by insurance, were well over $1 million.
Oh,
That's
my.
So you can really find yourself biting the bullet. Just don't think because he's got some money, we're okay. And I explained everything to him and her, and I said, if you sign, it's your money that's liable for him. And they can go after you. And if he's got accounts payable on death to his children, and it passes to his children when he dies, they're going to chase you first, not the children. It's easier. The children dying in town. And she said, no problem. If he's not willing to do the paperwork, I'm not willing to sign him in.
That's good.
And I said, can I leave you two in this room for about 3 minutes?
Right.
And I'll come back
They'll kill each other.
one appointment. See if you want to make another appointment or you want to go home and talk to me. Came back in, he said, I will be signing the papers. She's in charge. His kids are really not even in the loop at all, but he got it finally. And it's very serious, and you know, but it's a husband and wife too. It can happen. And if you don't sign that paper, and you say, but my husband, if my husband is it, am I not responsible for his medical bills anyway? No. There's a Supreme Court case in 1995 in the state of Florida that says a spouse is not responsible for the medical bills incurred by their spouse unless there is a contract to do so. So signing them in makes you liable. Not signing them in keeps you liberated from that obligation.
You know, Joe, this is probably one of the best shows that we've done in all the years because it is so important. And I never knew this until you wrote the article and now you're enforcing it.
So I'm glad we keep things fresh and new, even though they're not fresh and new. There's just so much stuff, and that's why you have to name your kids as backups, and why people have to do that, and they have to understand that. They have to know they don't want the liability, just as a separate little offshoot of the liability. I'll have kids come in with their parents and they want to know what steps to avoid probate, and they'll come in and, again, we always keep the kids out when we're meeting with the parents, but when after we're through talking and the parents have made their decisions, we'll let the kids in. And the reason is we don't want anybody to ever say the kids influenced the parents, the sister influenced the sister. And in marriages that are second marriages, we get them to understand before we start talking that maybe you both should be separate because you may have separate agendas. But anyway.
Before you go on, though, I want to tell everyone about your September seminars. Actually, you have them in August, don't you?
August.
Let's do the August ones. And I gave my last magazine to our last guest.
I have it.
Thank you.
Okay, I am prepared. I'm a planner, okay?
Oh, you always have been.
In August, we have done our senior survival workshops now for over 20 years. Way back when, we did 7 every 3 weeks, but now we do 3 about 9 months of the year. In August, I will be doing our senior survival workshop, August 9th, that's this coming Tuesday, at 1:30 in the afternoon at the Palm Beach Gardens Marriott Hotel off RCA Boulevard in Palm Beach Gardens. Admission is free. We start on time. Bring a sweater because the hotel room can get cold. And we'll talk about both long-term care planning for Medicaid as well as traditional estate planning and VA benefits. On Wednesday, August 10, in Port St. Lucie Holiday Inn at 1:30. Jenny Bernstein, who's an attorney with my office now for 11 or 12 years, who's also a board-certified elder law attorney, will be doing that workshop. And Thursday, since I'm going to take a 5-day break, I'm going to leave town on Wednesday. Thursday, August 11, in Boynton Beach at the Courtyard by Marriott, Jenny will be doing the workshop again at 1:30. If you need more information, you can go to our website, Karplaw, KARPLAW.com. You don't need reservations. If you have questions, you can call our toll-free number, since it's easier to give one than three numbers for each office, 1-800-893-9911. Seminar attendees will be given a ton of information, and if we think we can help them, they will be able to have a free consultation. We're then going to be doing workshops again in September, and I will be speaking to you before those, but I believe they're the week of...
They will be in our, they'll be in our August, August issue.
September 12, which will be Tuesday the 13th, Wednesday the 14th, and in the 3 locations, and Thursday the 15th. And we're not going to do them again until November because of all the religious holidays in October. So come get the information and learn stuff. We will teach you a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, you do that so well.
And by the way, just so people know how this practice has evolved, if you will. 22 years ago, when we were doing these, 15 years ago when we were doing these, everybody who came in, many of them were newbies to Florida. They had their will that left their grandmother the children. Okay, then all of a sudden they came down and they're 70 and the children are now 45. Grandma has passed on, or certainly not necessary to take care of the kids. And they would start to do trust planning. They saw the appropriateness, etc. We're now at the point where 75% of the people who come in already have trusts. They haven't heard from their lawyer. They don't know whether their trusts are up to date. Frequently, most of their documents are out of date. Their health care surrogate doesn't address federal HIPAA laws. Their power of attorney does not comply with the new laws, does not give the people the authority to do what they need to do. They say, well, can my power of attorney do this for me for Medicaid? And I say, well, no, because it doesn't allow your power of attorney to gift your money or transfer your money. It just gave them the right to pay your bills and sign your checks effectively. So 75% of the people come in, have estate plans, and many of them, after they meet with us, realize how much updating they need. They have tax planning that's no longer necessary because their estates are no longer taxable. Their cast of, forgetting about the things like the obvious, that their cast of characters is out of date. But frequently it's out of date for more reasons than that. So anyway, that's what we do, and Jenny been doing the workshops for about 7 years already, so they get the same offer, and we work as a team. Our 5 lawyers work together as a team, so you get the benefit of the law firm, not just one lawyer, just one guy. We got 5 bright people in our office who are practicing law and 20 in support staff. We don't have a periodontal department on the second floor, right, but we're there, Dr. Mencia.
So
we try to help in the areas that we can.
And before we close, I just want to tell everyone a little bit about Joe and his wonderful wife, who, of course, has been working there at the office. And I don't know what her title is. It's probably everything. What is her title? Marketing and Public Relations. Okay. She writes all my newspaper stuff and my website and my newsletter. I get to approve the legal portion. She approves the
human touch and the good grammar.
Right. So that's Deb Karp. And I have to just say, he's been an outstanding citizen of Palm Beach County. And I do hear and see a lot of ads for a lot of lawyers, but he really is gets the ANITA FINLEY stamp of approval. I have to tell you, he has been helping us and personally and with a lot of our friends and a lot of our advertisers. And we love having him write his articles and have him do the radio show as he does. He's so loyal, and he's just a wonderful guy for anybody who knows him. So I guess with that, I have to say thank you very much, Joe, and have a great holiday wherever you're going.
We're going up to the Big Apple.
That's right.
The other thing I will say to people is there's probably nobody in this county, or maybe one person, when you say you've seen a lot of ads, that have been doing those ads consistently, that they've been in town and stayed in town.
And we have to go, Joe. We have to go.
That's important.
Thank you, kiddo. Goodbye.
Take care.
Okay.
Be well.
Thank you. Bye.
Stay cool.
Okay.
And stay dry. And hurricane season.
Bye, Joe.
Bye-bye.